Hi everyone, welcome back to Spiritual Growth Tarot. I'm Denise, and as usual I'm using the Light Seers Tarot by Chris Ann, and this will be for Wednesday, February 3rd, 2021. Okay, so a message for our spiritual growth that is timeless to help heal our souls, and also for the day. Okay, excellent. So for our theme, well, let's do this because I think I'm going to have to put some other cards in here because we have a couple reversals. So with our theme being the Ten of Wands reversed, that's actually not bad having it reversed because it means that we are letting go of baggage. It means that we're not carrying burdens that are not ours to carry. It can have to do with, letting go of burdens that are just really unfair. And delegating, that comes into play as well. It can also have us in a, bit of like just letting go of stress. Sometimes it can be a bit of a failure. And if that's the case, it would be, with this King of Swords here reversed, that brings in that element of somebody who's been manipulative, who's even somewhat corrupt. There's some lack of integrity here when this guy comes in reversed. Now, sometimes it can just be, somebody who's just really cold-hearted. So before I dive into the King of Cups here, let me do this, and I'll bring in these other cards to show what I often do with reversals. So you can't do it with the aces, but you can do it with every other. I think pretty much every. The aces and the Fool are the only cards I wouldn't naturally. I wouldn't normally go backwards to look at. But one of the techniques with reversals is to go to the card previous to. So with the Ten of Wands, I'm looking for the Nine of Wands, and that's right here. And we've had that, that card's been coming up a lot in the past. And to go prior to the King of Swords, we of course would have the Queen of Swords. So, here we go, right here. Okay, so the message, if we were to go prior to the Ten of Swords, that brings in the strength and the inner strength of the Nine of Swords. And I spoke so much about that in the reading yesterday. I think I'll not, go too much into it today, except I will just ask you to refer to the message of, of the day for would have been Tuesday, February 2nd. Because when you have that inner strength, you really do let go of a burden. You let go of many, many, many burdens that are not even yours to carry. And you're not taking responsibility for other people's actions, and you're not even going to take things personally when people are pushing stuff on you, or people are gaslighting you, if people are, not in their emotional integrity. Because I think the bigger message here is that we really receive a lot of clear focus, clarity and independent thinking, and then we are independent when we have that inner clarity because we've done the work. That brings in the element of emotional intelligence, our clear. Actually, let me do this. I think I've got a little bit of a glare. That it brings these two forces together are beautiful. If you go from the Queen of Swords, King of Cups, or even Queen of Swords combined with the Queen of Cups, it's you've got the best of both worlds. You have a high level of reasoning abilities that work very, very well, where you can logically track patterns and understand what's going on. It's like a very, there's a deeper understanding with the Queen of Swords. And you really only get that if you've done a lot of emotional release work, if you've done a lot of, purification of your emotional body, which when I say the word purification, I don't mean that there's anything like dirty at all or bad about emotional wounding, because that's not true. But when I say the word purification, I just mean that the soul forces, the life force flows through your soul clearly and doesn't like bump up against hard, rigid material. Like Barbara Ann Brennan used to always call it the psychic frozen time conglomerates. Well, they create rigidity inside of us, and that's what keeps us from moving clearly. So if we've gone into our emotional reactions, which are, always a form of aggression that can be passive aggressive, passive aggression, it's still aggression, or it can be submission. It can also be withdrawal, where you're just going to say, hey, take the high, forget it. I'm not even going to go there. I'm not even going to feel it. I'm not even going to try to go through it. And then sometimes the submission comes in, especially with the Ten of Wands. If this were straight up, it can be a card where we've taken on way too many burdens and we've submitted to things that are not ours to carry or not ours to fix, right? Like trying to fix someone else. You can't. You can, if you're a nurse, of course, you can bandage them up. If you're a surgeon, of course, you can operate. You can do things like that on the physical level. But in the emotional realm, we have to do our own work. So we have, many, many forces for facilitation, but we only really heal ourselves. People can help clear things out for us. People can help facilitate the process, but your true healing happens within. So, with this inner strength, with this courage, with this bravery to take a stand for what's gone even beyond taking a stand, we have a fence of strength around us. Then we don't need to be manipulated by people like this. There's not a problem. We do have our inner wisdom, and we receive all the messages that we need. So to go backwards from the King of Swords to the Queen of Swords, it's so important. It's really, really important, because from here you're going to learn how to be self-sufficient, and you're going to be so intelligent that your inner, your ability to organize from the inside out is going to affect your entire life. So these two forces, these two people, or the energy and consciousness of the Queen of Swords and either the Queen of Cups or the King of Cups, brings in everything that you need. Like these, I think these two cards are really, really important, or three cards if we had the Queen of Cups here. Brings in so much information about how to heal. So let's see. No. Really messing myself up here. Okay, so let's make sure. Yeah, this way. Okay, so let's get back to these three cards again. And let's see if we can find just a way to summarize this. So when we have the wisdom to see the big picture, which, that's not coming in with this guy. But if he were straight up, it's all about you see the big picture and the writing on the wall, and you don't take on anybody else's burdens. But I think that the shorter message, combining these three cards together, brings in that element of do not take on any burdens of like corruption. Like, let's say you're working for a corrupt boss. Well, If you go inside your emotional body, you'll feel how terrible that feels, and you might quit working for the person, or you might find a way to suggest some ways to heal that. If the person's just cold and it's not really corruption, then that's a whole different element. But the message here is to not take on anyone else's cold-heartedness. Like, don't take that into just let it flow through. Just let it go. This has nothing to do with you. But if it has in the past, then this card tells me that you're letting it go. Truly, truly letting it go. And that is beautiful, because the King of Cups is all about that wisdom and that generosity of the spirit to just let it flow through you. Let it go. If somebody's cold-hearted, don't take on that burden. It's not about you. Unless it's mirroring something inside of you and you want to work to clear that out, then that's beautiful too. But if it's, like I'm saying, somebody, and it doesn't have to be a man, it could be anyone with a lack of integrity, with that, your wanting, your being, and your emotional integrity, you can spot that, and you can let it go. And, if it is a job, you can start looking elsewhere, or maybe there's a supervisor that you can speak to about it. If there's outright, like stealing, corruption, that type of thing. Yeah. These cards even kind of bring in that element of, like having the emotional courage to be a whistleblower, but being very careful about how you go about it, so that you're safe. So I think that's all I have for today. It was really interesting, combination of the cards, but I don't have anything else to say about it, so I'm going to say goodbye. Take good care, everyone. See ya.